Hello students. In this video, we will discuss about exchange of gases in different organisms like plants, terrestrial animals and aquatic animals. In our previous video, we have discussed about respiration, types of respiration, how the glucose breaks down into pyruvate and then it undergoes aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Then we have discussed about muscle cramps, and yes, of course, we have also discussed about the currency of energy, that is ATP. In this slide, we will discuss about exchange of gases in different organisms. In air, around 21% of the oxygen is present, and in water, oxygen is present in dissolved state, which is approximately 1 to 3%. Terrestrial animals can breathe in oxygen from the atmosphere, which is around 21%, but the aquatic animals like fishes need to use the dissolved oxygen in water, which is around 1 to 3% of the oxygen. Since the amount of dissolved oxygen is fairly low as compared to the amount of oxygen present in air, so the rate of breathing in aquatic organism is much faster than that of it is observed in the terrestrial organism. From this, we can come up to this conclusion that concentration of oxygen is inversely proportional to the breathing rate. Now let's move on to the next slide. Exchange of gases in plants. Plants generally exchange gases like carbon dioxide, oxygen and yes, of course, water vapor, that is by the process of transpiration. Plants exchange gases by the process of diffusion through the stomatal opening. The direction of diffusion depends upon the environmental condition and the requirements of the plant. During night, when there is no photosynthesis, the carbon dioxide is eliminated, which is the major exchange activity going on, because the carbon dioxide produced during respiration at night, that carbon dioxide may not be absorbed by the plants, so that CO2 has to be eliminated during night. Whereas in the day, the carbon dioxide generated during respiration will be absorbed by the plant itself due to the process it has to undergo photosynthesis. Hence, during the daytime, there will be no CO2 release. Let's move on to the next slide. In fishes, they are the aquatic organism, and as we have earlier discussed, they have a higher breathing rate because they have to absorb around 1 to 3% of the dissolved oxygen present in water. Fishes take in the water, and that water consists of dissolved oxygen. They take it via mouth. After it getting inside the mouth, that water mixed with the dissolved oxygen pump it into the gills. Inside the gills, there are gill filaments which increases the surface area and helps in the absorption of oxygen. Gill filaments consist of blood capillaries, so the dissolved oxygen mixes with the blood, and the oxygen present in the blood transported to all the blood body tissues via circulatory system. Removal of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide removed from the body through the gills. Water flows out through the gills, and this water comes out via operculum. Operculum is a flap-like structure that covers and that protects the gill surface. So, mouth, when the water enters along with the dissolved oxygen, so it enters through the mouth, but when the carbon dioxide comes out, it comes out via operculum. And this whole process of intake and release of gases, that is the exchange of gases, takes place with the synchronization of mouth and operculum. Mouth is responsible for taking up the dissolved oxygen, whereas operculum is responsible for releasing the water which is dissolved with carbon dioxide. Now let's move on to the next slide. In terrestrial animals, they use oxygen in the atmosphere for aerobic respiration. Around 21% of oxygen is present in air. This oxygen is absorbed by different organs like lungs in different animals. All these organs have a structure like alveoli, which is a sac-like structure, and alveoli is responsible for increasing the surface area. Now let's see the flow chart, how the air will get inside into the terrestrial animal's body. First of all, the air get inside the nostrils. From the nostrils, it get inside the nasal passage. From nasal passage, it goes into the trachea. Trachea is known as the air pipe. From air pipe, it goes to the bronchi, and bronchi they further branch and sub-branch into further tubes called bronchioles, and later on they terminate into the air sac-like structure called alveoli. In this image, you can see how the air get inside the nose, that is from the nostrils, and finally it enters into the nasal passage. From nasal passage, it enters through the pharynx, and from pharynx it leads to the trachea. When we are talking about trachea, trachea is made up of rings of cartilage, and these rings of cartilage are present in the throat part, and this is the part which is known as trachea. Trachea is also known as air pipe. These rings of cartilage ensure that the air passage doesn't collapse because the cartilages are flexible. Now let's see this diagram of human respiratory system. We can see the nasal passage. The nasal passage has hair and mucus, which will catch all the dust particles present in the inhaled air. The inhaled air will get inside the pharynx, and from pharynx it will lead to larynx. Larynx is also known as the sound box. From larynx it will lead to the trachea. From trachea it will further go to bronchi, and from bronchi it will lead to bronchioles. Finally, the bronchioles will terminate to the sac-like structures called alveoli. What is the role of alveoli? Alveoli increases the surface area. Therefore, it helps in the absorption of gases. These alveoli are moist, they are thin, and they are made up of a special type of epithelium known as simple squamous epithelium. Coming to the next slide, here we can see during the inhale and exhale, this complete inhaling and exhaling is known as a one breathing cycle. So during the breathing cycle, when air is taken in and it is coming out, the lungs always contain a residual volume of air, so that there must be some sufficient time duration for oxygen to be absorbed and for the carbon dioxide to be released. As we can see from this image here, during the inhale and exhale, what are the changes that happen in the diaphragm? What is diaphragm? Diaphragm is a muscular ridge that separates the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. So we can see during inhalation, the diaphragm presses the abdominal organ downward and forward. Whereas in exhalation, diaphragm rises and it recoils the resting position. Along with the diaphragm, there are intercostal muscles present in between the rib cages, and they are also playing an important role in the contraction and relaxation. After this, now let's move on to the next slide. Use of respiratory pigment called hemoglobin. Multicellular organisms, those who have a large body surface area, they may not absorb the oxygen simply by diffusion. Instead of this, we need a respiratory pigment which will attach to the oxygen, and that will further release to the different parts of the body tissues, and this oxygen will be used for aerobic respiration. In human beings, respiratory pigment is hemoglobin, which has a higher affinity for oxygen. Hemoglobin is present in RBC. Such RBC which consist of hemoglobin, this type of RBC do not have nucleus, so that they can give a proper space for the hemoglobin to attach with the oxygen. So the matured RBCs are denucleated. Denucleated means without nucleus. Why? So that they can give a proper accommodation to the hemoglobin, so that the hemoglobin may attach to the oxygen. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than oxygen. Hence, mostly carbon dioxide is transported in the dissolved form in our blood, that is in plasma.